Chief McKissack's mom on? Chief McKissack's mom on? Are you on? You don't think she is? Okay. Are you able to text her? Are you able to call her or text her? Okay. I just want to make sure she doesn't miss it because we're about to start. Okay. Hi. Everyone else, could you go ahead and please mute? If you can please mute your devices, please. There's a Miss Taylor. Hers keeps coming up. Thank you.
Sergeant Armstead, huh? Sergeant Armstead at the podium. I see you emailed today about a conditional release on her. Say again? Okay. Okay. Keep that on the low low. I won't let the cat on the bag.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the promotion celebration for the Chief Master Sergeant, Kimberly Asmarina McKissack. The presiding officer for today is Colonel Antonio Love. I am Technical Sergeant Tamisha Armstead, and I am honored to be your narrator today. Please stand for the arrival of the official party, the playing of the national anthem, and the pre-recorded invocation by Chief Master Sergeant Retired Mary DeVille.
Hi, Kim. Thank you for this opportunity to play a part in your promotion ceremony. It means a lot to me that you would even ask. I thank God for you and all your contributions to the military, what you've done, and the people you have led and yet to lead. Thank you for allowing me to pray at your ceremony. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, all that you have done. Lord, we're just so grateful for you have provided everything we need. We thank you, God, for this time with Kim, oh God, and we ask that you would just make her the leader that you would have her to be. As she have been led, help her to lead others. We thank you for the life that she's touched and she shall touch, know that she shall bring from behind along the way. We bless you and we thank you. Keep her in your care. Make her Father, an example of your love, and show her how to disperse and to disseminate what is good and what is right before you. Because we know that if you are the head, oh God, everything she set her hands to do, it shall be done. We know that promotions comes from you, oh God. We know that everything we have and because of who we are is because of who you are. And we just thank you, oh God. And we know that her blessing delayed was not a blessing denied, because we know what you have for us, we shall have. No man shall put us under. And we thank you. Bless this gathering in her honor. May you give her many years to lead. May you give her many words of wisdom to share. In your name we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chief DeBerry. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. This is a special day in Chief McKissack's life. Today we honor her commitment, dedication, and professionalism as we celebrate her achievement of assuming the Air Force's highest enlisted rank, the rank of Chief Master Sergeant. Woo! Let us take a moment to recognize her special guests and family members in attendance both physically and virtually. The presiding officer, Colonel Antonio Love, Commander, 1st Special Operations Medical Group. Guest speaker, Colonel Catherine Lowry, United States Air Force, retired. Chief McKissack's husband, Mr. Archie Pickramenos. Joining virtually are Chief McKissack's parents, Ms. Jacqueline McKissack Morris and Mr. Russell Morris, her stepchildren, Shawana and Nicholas, her sister, Ms. Kelly Morris, and her niece and nephew, Zayden and Zane. In attendance, Chief Master Sergeant Jason B. Robbins, Chief Medical Enlisted Force, Air Force Special Operations Command. Joining virtually, Colonel Jocelyn Skimmerhorn, Commander, 1st Special Operations Wing, and Chief Master Sergeant Courtney Freeman, 1st Special Operations Wing Command Chief. Also in attendance, Chief Master Sergeant John L. Lane, Acting 1st Special Operations Wing Command Chief, and Chief Master Sergeant Cynthia Porras, Superintendent, 1st Special Operations Medical Group. Welcome. Your attendance highlights the significance of this special event. Every promotion represents a significant milestone in one's career. And as every member knows, it takes hard work, determination, sacrifice, and commitment to serve our country. We also know that being promoted to the rank of Chief Master Sergeant falls into a category of its own. In the late 1950s, the United States Air Force introduced a new super enlisted rank to replace its warrant officers. This top grade came to the title Chief Master Sergeant. The word chief means one who is highest in rank or authority. The word master means a teacher or mentor. The word sergeant means any of several ranks of non-commissioned officers appointed to a conferring leadership. Today's chief must be a teacher, a mentor, and is looked upon to lead the enlisted force. Only 1% of the enlisted force achieves the rank of Chief Master Sergeant. This celebration is an acknowledgement of a great Air Force tradition, providing special recognition to those who achieve the highest enlisted grade. Today, we so honor Chief Master Sergeant Kimberly A. McKissack. Colonel Love, the floor is yours, sir.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Armstead, for just opening up this occasion. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the 1st Special Operations Medical Group, our home. Thank you to all who is physically here, joining us physically, and everyone who's joining us virtually. as we honor the promotion of our very own Kimberly McKissack to the rank of Chief Master Sergeant. Now, my remarks today will be brief for several reasons, but namely because I will be followed by Colonel Lowry, who will commemorate and celebrate Chief McKissack's journey in our Air Force. Considering that, and as I pondered, okay, Antonio, what are you going to talk about today? My thoughts went several different places, but drifted to, of all things, force structure, and then to anatomy and physiology. Strange, right? I know. But please indulge me just for a few minutes as I connect the dots. It's often said that the enlisted force is the backbone of the Air Force. And I don't think you will find anybody in this place today to say otherwise, and I'm not here to debate that as truth. In fact, it is a truth that I not only accept, but enthusiastically celebrate. But have you ever pondered the depth of that statement? Have you ever pondered the purpose and the composition of the backbone in the context of the anatomy of our enlisted force structure, from the junior enlisted to the NCO, to the senior NCO, and then the chief? I'll let that sit in for a minute. I don't see anybody say, yeah, I thought about that, and I got, pieces, and I'm really. So, if you answer no, you're in good, you're in luck, because today we're going to explore that very question, okay? All right, so what is the spine or the backbone? Your spine or backbone is your body's central support structure. It connects the different parts of the musculoskeletal system. Your spine helps you to sit, it helps you to stand, it helps you to twist and to bend. In a word, well, really two words, your spine or backbone enables you to optimally perform. And with this definition in mind, we see a very real correlation to our enlisted force and its central importance to our Air Force's ability to fly, fight, and win. Now let's explore the parts of the spine. Now, there are many different parts that make up your spine, and I want to talk about how I see them correlating to our enlisted force structure. Now, this is not scientific or anything like that, so it's something that is certainly debatable, but since I'm here and I've got the floor, as Sergeant Armstead said, you get my interpretation, so here goes. First part that makes up the backbone, or the component of the backbone, is the vertebrae. Now, the spine has 33 stacked vertebrae. They're small bones that form the spinal canal. The spinal canal is a tunnel that houses the spinal cord and the nerves. Now, most vertebrae move and allow range of motion. The lowest vertebrae, it's called the sacrum or the coccyx. They're fused together and they don't move. I equate this part of the backbone, or this component of the backbone, to our junior enlisted. Junior enlisted, they're kind of stacking their experiences, inform the baseline or the foundation of our enlisted force as it grows and grows and goes. The next component that I want to talk about is called the facet joints. Now, these spinal joints have cartilage, and the cartilage is a slippery tissue, and it's connective in nature. And that allows really the vertebrae to slide against one another. The facet joints allows you to twist and to turn, and they provide flexibility and stability. I focus in on those two last words, flexibility and stability, and I think of NCOs. Think of NCOs in the context of being the backbone of our force, providing that connective tissue between the very junior airmen in that front line and being able to connect and provides that flexibility, that mobility, and stability of our force. The next component is something that's called the intervertebral discs. Now these are flat, round cushions that sit between the vertebrae and acts as the spine shock absorbers. Each disc has a soft gel-like center surrounded by a flexible outer ring, and these discs are constantly under pressure. When I think about that, I think about our senior NCOs, in particular our master sergeants and our seniors, constantly under pressure, really serving to buffer and provide cover, if you will, to those junior NCOs as those junior NCOs mold and meld our junior NCOs. And that brings us to the spinal cord and the nerves. The spinal cord is a column of nerves that travels as a singular column of nerves that travels through the spinal canal. Now the cord extends from the skull all the way to the lower back. There are 31 pairs of nerves that branch out through the vertebral openings, and these nerves carry messages between the brain and the muscles. And that's how it's achieved. The singular nature of that spinal cord, but being really indicative to the 1%, and how the chief is structured centrally, really connected to everything organizationally throughout our Air Force. So with that said, Chief McKissack, thank you for the honor of being a part of this very special day and for your continued service. And also congratulate you for joining the ranks of the very cord that pulses excellence throughout our entire Air Force that enables us to continue to fly, fight, and win. Congratulations.
Thank you, Colonel Love. Chief Master Sergeant, retired LaFrance Tony Ballard, please come forward for the reading of the Chief's Creed.
So I can't just get up here and just not say something. So just to piggyback on what Colonel Love said, as a chief, you're the anchor of any organization that you're attached to, and your leadership sets the tone. Just so to help us establish a context before I read off this Chief's Creed. And I also want to thank you for giving me an opportunity to be a part of your promotion ceremony. We've been waiting on this for about a decade now. Yeah. And you've been there for me personally and professionally. Kim helped me get through my master's degree program. We had a lot in common. We went through Coast Guard Academy together, and right after that is when I hooked on to her to help me get through my master's program. So she motivated me to start that and finish it before I retired. And I reached the rank of chief as well through your help. You helped me see that through. So again, it wasn't a matter of if, it was just a matter of when. It wasn't a race, it was always a marathon for you. So glad to see you here with the program. So this thing's a little muffled, so work with me. Thanks, COVID. Chief Master Sergeants are individuals regarded as people who cannot be bought, whose word is their bond, who put character above wealth, who possess opinions and a will, who are larger than their vocations, who will not lose their individuality in a crowd, who do not hesitate to take chances, who will be as honest in small things as in great ones, who will make no compromise with wrong, whose ambitions are not confined to their own selfish desires and interests, who are true to their friends through good report and evil report, and in adversity as well as prosperity, who do not believe that shrewdness, cunning, and hard-headedness are the best qualities for winning success, who are not ashamed or afraid to stand for the truth when it is unpopular, and who can say no with emphasis, although all the world is saying yes. And with that, I'll say every time you got a seat at the table, you need to be there. So everything falls on your shoulders. Thank you.
Thank
afternoon, everyone. Hopefully I can read my words, as I'm one of the few, I think, talking today that has glasses. It's a challenge with these masks, but it's amazing and awesome to see so many military leaders out here today, whether it's physically here or virtually here. I want to applaud you for being out here for this special day and this special occasion. As we all know, this is no small feat to get to where Chief McKissack is today. I also want to extend a warm welcome to Archie and the family who's virtually. Hello, everybody. Hope to meet you all one day. I love Kim. She's been wonderful to know over the years, and she was wonderful to have served with when we were both at the 937. So welcome parents, sisters, stepchildren, niece and nephew, friends, and the entire military family, civilian, contractors, active duty alike. It's wonderful to see such a great group of people here, especially under the circumstances with COVID. And thank you, Chief McKissack, or should I call you Chief Kiz? You're gonna need a new, I almost got you on like a new placard for the front that said Chief Kiz, but I know that's your thing, you gotta figure it all out. Anyways, but thank you for the honor, and thank you to be here and for asking me to be here to share this special day and to be able to hopefully give a little bit of a peek into your life from when you grew up in Jackson, Tennessee to present. All right, let's see here. Kim's career from basic military training school and on through all her job promotions to the present is a bit more unique than many may think, at least from what I know of her and have seen of other officers enlisted as I've gone through my time till retirement, and also doing a lot of these types of ceremonies. So Kim grew up in the town of Jackson, Tennessee. Current population is about 67,000. I just wanted to give you a couple fun facts from Jackson. It is nicknamed the Hub City because it is relative midpoint of West Tennessee, located between Memphis and Nashville, which you told me just recently. That was actually in my fun facts I found out. It's also the home of rockabilly music and the location of Rockabilly Hall of Fame. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Sounds right. And you all say, what the heck is rockabilly, right? That's what I said, so I had to go Google it. And it's a mix of rock and roll and hillbilly, which is really more known as country music today. So rockabilly is where the Rockabilly Hall of Fame or museum is or something. It's also home of Lane College. The college was founded in 1882 by Bishop Isaac Lane, a former slave and bishop of the Colored Methodist Episcopal Church. Lane College is the first institution established by the Methodist Episcopal Church and one of the oldest historically black colleges. And most of all, it said that it's known for its friendly people. Okay? All right, but shall we move on? As Kim was wrapping up her time in high school, she wanted to venture out into the world and gain her independence. But Mom was not happy with that plan for many reasons, and many good reasons. She had past family who served in the military, the concern of going to war, putting yourself in harm's way, and losing her baby, right? But she wanted to go to college first. So like a good daughter, Kim went off to college, obtained her bachelor's degree in sociology from the University of Tennessee, Martin. Mom wanted her closer to home, so that's the University of Tennessee, Martin. And as the story goes, Kim was actually going to college to be a registered nurse, but there's one bugger of a course that stopped her up. And it was one with advanced medications and doses and calculations, and so I'm guessing maybe pharmacology, not sure. But it was one of the ones you had to have before you actually got into the nursing primary platform for the last 2 years. So instead, and she failed, by the way, the one class that she failed was a 74.5. Like, they didn't even round like a 75 a pass. I mean, come on. So she didn't want to wait a semester to go back and retake the course, so she went ahead and switched over her major to sociology, which actually is an amazing, if anyone's taken a sociology course or two, it's just really a phenomenal field, I can only imagine. Maybe something I would do in the future, maybe. That time, okay, when they didn't run up the scores, so she didn't get into the major by 0.5, that stinks. Instead of sitting out for the semester, she went on and did her degree in sociology, and after graduating from college, she quickly turned back to pursuing her desire to enlist in the Air Force. So that was a desire beforehand. My mom said no. AKA gain independence and spread her wings. Growing up, Kim was surrounded by many in her family's history that had attended some form of education beyond high school. Her Granny Rose was an educator, a teacher of, was it history? History, right? And Kim said Granny Rose was always pushing the importance of education. She was a huge influence on Kim and her need to pursue further education after high school and always throughout her life, always striving to be more knowledgeable and to increase her abilities and skills. And actually, a funny story is she was supposed to take history, and she didn't want to be in the history class. Then she would have had Granny Rose teaching her, so she didn't do it. And she still passed high school, but she had to take a geography class in college in order to make up for that miss. So that was kind of cute. And oh, by the way, then her grandma retired in 11th grade, so when you were in 11th grade anyways, pretty funny. A little stubborn Kim. None of you know any of that of her, I'm sure. Okay, so her grandfather's, I think this is Granny Rose's right husband, was a dentist, and both her parents attended colleges, and as a matter of fact, Kim was born, or I should say made, during the time that the parents were going to college. And it's also good to know that many in her family, well, okay, there's herself. All right, so she actually had uncles and aunts that served in the Army and the Air Force, and as a matter of fact, an aunt that served 12 years. She's the first one that will retire out of the military, but to think that the education of the past and your age, we're not that far off, I'm a little older than you, and I think of my family and their education, and there's some certain military service in there, but a pretty amazing family background with what all Kim shared with me. So her aunt that was in the Air Force after 12 years had separated, but she was the one that encouraged and essentially recruited her into the Air Force field. And so she decided to go in after college and went to the enlistment folks, enlisted, and about 2 or 3 weeks prior to that, she told Mom, hey, I'm heading out to BMT in about 3 weeks, and it was click. Mom wasn't happy, but Mom did realize later on that it was actually a good thing. She'd written an article and actually put it in the paper. And it's just more of the mom thing, right? You're losing your baby, they're going off to the military, and who knows what that will come. I mean, Mom grew up in the time when we had Korea and Vietnam and all that, so I could see the worries. So, Kim went off to the military. Started BMT at Lackland Air Force Base. And, let me find where I was at. Mom, sorry about that. In May of 95 is when she started. Basic military training at Lackland Air Force Base. And then she went up the street up north to Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas, where she completed her aerospace medical service apprentice training for Phase 1 and Phase 2, also called AMSA. She went on to her first official duty station at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, where she stayed quite a long time. And she worked in OBGYN, inpatient unit, women's health, internal medicine, and finally a stint at the gastroenterology clinic. Noteworthy, consistently pursuing education advances when she was there. A lot of times people would see her late after work, and that's what she was doing, is working on her master's degree, working on her CCAF. She'd also, so working on her CCAF, and you completed that actually before you left Keesler. You had your Associates of Science. Throughout her EPRs, it was noted she often worked extra shifts when money was low, or high patient demand, or if a fellow coworker needed help. She was seen as a role model from early on in one of her first OPRs or EPRs I saw. She was a role model for staff and enlisted students doing their clinical rotations. So soon out of Phase 1 and Phase 2 that now she is one of the people mentoring the young ones coming out of the pipeline. And it runs throughout her EPRs and how she does the mentoring, teaching, leading. Does that sound familiar? I think that's what you just talked about, the chief, right? Yeah, early on and throughout her career. She also volunteered as an infection control monitor, and for those that know, no one wants that job, and she volunteered for it. But if you know about inspections for clinics and hospitals, you also know that infection control and any of your life safety items, they can shut those doors in a heartbeat. So for someone so young to realize such an important role, I think says a lot. I did that when I was young too. I loved it. Her supervisors consistently stated she showed an unlimited potential, that Kim was a rare breed of reliability and dedication, a super leader and a manager. It's kind of funny, I came in here, Colonel Love said, hey, so I wanted to talk to Kim. He's like, oh yeah, she's back here. Oh, she's not there. Oh, I know where she's at. Oh, and she's, hey, Hutton. And he's like, yeah, she's doing what she does. She's all busy doing all kinds of stuff, right? Yeah. If you have a certain perfume, I'm guessing they don't see you, but they may smell, oh, Jesus, just here. Oh. Okay. And prior to leaving Cleveland for Shepherd Air Force Base, she promoted to the rank of sergeant. She did the senior airman thing early on too, but oh yeah, one other small thing. She survived Hurricane Katrina while stationed at Houston. Huge. Yeah. She assisted and evacuated 130 patients prior to Katrina slamming the base, and as you know, most of you know, it resulted in mass devastation of the base in all of the Biloxi area and many other areas along the Gulf Coast. And kind of an odd note, but she lost 2 cars while at Keesler. One, she said she burned up due to going home because mom was only 6 hours away. Uncle had to come pick her up on the highway one time because the drive belt broke. Something happened, so that was the end of that car. She got a new car, and then she said that one washed away with Katrina. But it's amazing things. Kim, I spoke to a good friend of mine and a former nurse manager of yours from your time working at the GI clinic. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Julie Pierce. She said she could remember and was impressed at how you would stay after duty hours or work tirelessly towards your master's degree. She sends a heartfelt congratulations on your promotion to chief. So as I said, she was off to Shepherd for the next assignment. She said she was praying for a change as she was getting too comfortable with what she was doing and still pretty close to home, as I said, 6 hours away. So she almost didn't feel like she was in the military. As a matter of fact, she worked at Walmart as an extra job, and she said most of the people didn't even know that she was military. And one day they'd be like, whoa, really? And they thought she fit right in there. Well, Kim got her wish. Well, sort of. She was now involved to Shepherd to be an instructor for the AMSA course that she had only, 4 or 5 years prior been through herself. Yep, so be an instructor at the Tech Training School for Aerospace, and I think your chief friend said something about blessings delayed are not blessings denied. Okay. So Shepherd actually was where she felt she had the most growth in her entire career. She had one of those aha moments. I think she did one of those, hey, we're not in Kansas anymore. But she knew she had to get her A game on if she wanted to continue her career in promoting in the Air Force, and that became very evident while she was at Shepherd. It wasn't that Kim wasn't doing all the right things. She was doing great at her job, doing amazing things with volunteering, Wing Honor Guard, and doing all these other things related, not just related to teaching, but taking on other responsibilities. So she just wasn't, she was an introvert, kinda, but in the job, so a little bit on the quiet. She realized she needed to be out there and be visible. Like, people needed to know what she did because people knew what other people were doing. This is the stuff that kind of goes in here and also helps with those straps. And we know that that's important. So she started to see what her other peers were doing and started rolling in after them. And next thing you know, she's getting where she needs to be, and the promotions start coming. And she caught on. Without technical training instructors, we all know the Air Force would come to a screeching halt. That comes back to the backbone. You know, and a lot of the folks that are teaching there are literally after their first assignment, if they've been there a while, maybe their second assignment, but it's your NCOs. Your NCOs are doing that. Some of your senior NCOs, but for the most part on the podium, it's the NCOs. Kim sought to quickly master the ropes of instructing and also spent a lot of time making the best possible learning environment for the students. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's a 24/7 job, and I know we're all 24/7, right? But I mean, I'm not, no kidding, 24/7. Phone calls, this is going on, something's in the door, we need help for this, whatever. It is constant. I mean, I lived it, and I know. And I can't imagine having lived it for Shepherd, and then she's gonna fast forward into Fort Sam Houston, same stuff, and a whole other animal. She and other instructors literally worked tireless hours and wore many hats in order for the tech training to succeed. Her leadership, mentorship, and teaching ensured well over 1,000 students graduated annually. She obtained a second CCF degree, Instructor of Technology and Military Science. Her outstanding work as an instructor led to her chosen as an instructor supervisor position. And in addition, she eagerly jumped at the opportunity to serve the Wing Honor Guard team. where she was a flight lead, showcasing her and their talents and great pride at countless ceremonies. Kim said this was her most rewarding duty in all of her Air Force experience up to today. I can only imagine going out to, details for losing a loved one that's maybe was still serving, or going out to the veterans that have served in the past. I mean, I've been to a few of those, and it's touching. So thank you for your time on the honor guard. And don't let me forget that in the midst of all this stuff, I'm telling you, there are accolades and awards. And I couldn't do it in just a few hours. It's just too much when people get to be this seasoned in their careers. So please forgive me for not catching everything. She realized that she was very involved with her primary job, the district duties, and others volunteering, but again, was not recognized like her peers. And this was the start of finally getting herself where she needed to be. During this assignment, she sewed on tech sergeant. Well, all good things must come to an end, right? So it came to pass, literally, Congress mandated military medical training be co-located wherever possible, and wherever possible, join those classes together jointly. Ugh. Wow. I'm telling you, it was, I don't know if any of you have been around long enough to see the talks and battles and listen in on things when it came to just getting us to the point of where they were going to become joint. It was rough. There was, a lot of senior leaders really struggled with this. I mean, it's normal human nature. We kind of, our Air Force and Army and Navy. But let me tell you, these folks are the ones that took the lickings. These young officers and young enlisted, those are the ones that really took it. So upon that mandate, 2010-11, she was one of many that were asked or told to go to Fort Sam Houston to ensure that we had that backbone maintained. You take out any one of those vertebrae and it's going to collapse. And that was what she was, a part of the backbone that went there to keep our pipeline and our medical training programs running. She was actually the focal point for the move of the AMSA course to Fort Sam Houston, the Air Force's third largest training course. Air Force, not Air Force Medical. Air Force third largest training course. It was at the time, at that time that she also promoted to Master Sergeant. At Fort Sam Houston, she moved away from primary instruction and worked multiple jobs that are the nuts and bolts of the medical training environment. And I think a lot of you may not understand all the jobs unless you've done them, but I'll just say some of them: instructional systems specialist, flight chief of training resources, and the chief of academic support. So you've got, like a normal college, registrar, you've got people that are working on the academic, the curriculum, the rewrites, making sure that the tests are protected and that they go out, and that you do the surveys and bring all that stuff in, and then you throw that and you mix it all up, throw it in a joint environment, and then you want people to try and figure it all out. Well, she did. When I got there, she was already midway into her time at Fort Sam. And she knew it, and she got it, and she was able to easily move from one job to another, wherever the fit was needed. If we lost a civilian, she'd go and help fill in. If we needed some leadership, she'd go in there, and she'd lead. And she'd pick up the job. She grabbed her, I know you got your master instructor, one above, right?
Instructional system development.
Yeah, so she grabbed everything that she could education-wise, Granny Rose, and used it to better herself and better, not just the airmen, I'm talking big A, right? She taught me a lot when I was there. The shops that she worked in, they taught me a lot. I just went and sat down and said, hey, tell me about what you do. What do you need? How can I help? And please keep the lines of communication open, because that's the only way I can help you. And she did. The challenge was, it was a very complex and demanding job and environment, especially the brand new training environment, where tensions and anxiety was often high, and all parties were trying to find their way ahead. Air Force, Army, Navy, METSI, and all the other entities outside and above these folks. There was overlap in gray areas for ownership over curriculum, administrative control, operational control, registrar, and the list goes on. The cultures were different, discipline was different. Some could drink out of, the students could drink, Air Force couldn't. How they handled instructors on the podium if we had issues, or how they handled a student for discipline, nothing the same. And you can imagine they're in a joint class, and one's getting treated one way and one's getting treated another. It's tough. Well, she went with the flow. Meanwhile, she juggled additional duties at Joint Base San Antonio. So we got all those bases in San Antonio, and she was the JBSA community victim advocate. A lot of hours went in after her job and on call to take care of people that have been sexually assaulted. I mean, and this is something that she's done through many assignments, and I applaud you and I thank you. She also was a tri-service, oh, that actually was a tri-service job, by the way, that she, with the victim advocate. She also did squadron test custodian, survey monitor. This all involves planning, coordinating, and validating the instruction material for multiple education programs that fed the Air Force medic and readiness pipelines. A 10 to 15-minute speech cannot do justice to Kim and all she's done in her career, but I can tell you she did a ton during her time in the training environment. Fort Sam Houston is where I met Kim. I was her group commander. It was at a time where many folks in the group had been through 3 or so tough years at the Joint Medical Campus standing up. There were many successes along the way, but from someone who lived and witnessed it firsthand, there was a huge amount of things that made the day-to-day work environment extremely challenging, tiring, and many who moved from Shepherd to Fort Sam Houston were burning out. There was so much confusion still 3 years later, which is when I had gotten there, with who owned what, who they owned for personnel, big differences in culture, as I mentioned, with the Army, Air Force, and Navy, jobs duplicated but reported differently, all services answered to a different boss. We reported up the line, they reported up to SG, the other services, which affected instructors with the seats in teaching chairs and how disciplined the students and instructors were handled differently, but the same classroom, the same course. I often connected with and worked with Kim as she filled in as squadron superintendent, undershirt, and all those other duties that she switched over to. And her additional duty that the chief and squadron superintendent felt would be great, and I agreed, was the 4N functional. We have a lot of 4Ns there that really needed some good guidance. And being such a large program, we had a lot of 4Ns that still needed that connection from that clinical side of the house, and for even next jobs. I love her passion, compassion, and willingness to speak up for what needs to be said and done. She was not a yes ma'am or yes sir, and I love that about her. That can be tough. Some people might say when you don't agree or you say what really needs to be said, you're complaining. Heck no. Absolutely wrong. For those of you that are still in, I don't care if you're civilian, contractor, active duty, people need to hear the truth. And there's professional and good ways to say that. And the leaders that don't want to hear that, shame on them. I will say shame on them. And Kim had the strength to pursue through some of these tough times. She's the one that went to the AMSA program and talked to the Air Force instructors, got them to speak up. She got them to talk to me and start trying to work and at least elevate some of the issues that were going on. After that, it was up to the leaders above us to take care of those things. And things over the years have changed some, I think for the better, but still, very tough position to be in. And she was a master sergeant back then. We had some chiefs and CMS sergeants in our group as well. Not that they weren't good. It just says a lot about her as a master sergeant. We took a call on a Friday night, I remember one time. I went through and everyone was gone except Kim. And it was actually about a student at another base that apparently had attempted suicide. And she had been gone for a week or two, and we just happened to cross it. So the two of us spent probably the next hour or two literally kind of wading through all that had happened, talking to doctors, talking to everybody, and then we had to up-channel that through our chain of command because there was no process on that end to have channeled it upward. But we stayed there together and worked it as a team, and I'm so thankful of that night, very clear-minded. And as if all that I said wasn't enough, Kim gladly accepted the duty as a family assistance rep when we lost a student airman to suicide. And there was no better choice. The squadron commander came to me. I remember Andy coming to me saying, hey, I think Sergeant McKissack is the one. And I said, oh my goodness, hands down. There isn't a person that I know in this group could be better served in taking care of that family. And she did. And that job lasted from February when it happened until I think August before the commander had time to say, hey, it's enough. But she walked this family through a very difficult time. She was there, she whisked her away on a plane within 2 days. She was there every step of the way for this family, answering questions, giving answers for questions she couldn't get, there for the funeral, for the graveside ceremony, and after that, to help them through some tough times, and then come back and just dig right in and keep doing what Kim does. And one of our most frustrating, challenging times, actually is kind of part of this, is that we had written up there was a decoration associated with this barge duty, because it was, I mean, it's just above and beyond what probably most bars would do, and it got lost. And thank goodness she spoke up for herself. This is again the time, if had she not, she missed senior master sergeant by 0.28. We found out the medal got put in, things were delayed by 6 to 9 months, but her medal got in and she made senior. So good on you. If there's lessons to be learned, right, you gotta stick up for yourself sometimes. The system can't always do right, and you gotta help it right itself. Oh, boy. That covers that one. One of the things I wanted to say, when she was at Fort Sam, she did deploy. She went to SOC stint when people going down to Tampa and deploying to Florida. She was there and she got her first taste of the special operations community. I'm sure that really gave some help here. So she was deployed to SOC stint, and she helped with clinical ops and medical support across the Middle East and Central Asia. All right, I'm getting there. By the way, Andy Ryman says hello. Andy was her squadron commander and advocate when we were at Fort Sam at the group. Unfortunately, he couldn't tell me much or say much because he's got COVID. Yeah. But he is so proud of you, and you know how proud he is of you and how much he loves you. So he's very proud of you. Congratulations from Andy. All right, so Kim was ready for something else. Orders finally came down after a bazillion years in the training environment. And she moved to Eglin in 2016, where she stepped out of the training environment and back into the clinical operations side of the house, the med center at Eglin. She was a flight chief for the inpatient multi-service unit, where I'm sure most of you know you got 24/7 ops going on. She also was filled in frequently for the squadron superintendent for sergeant duties, which she has done undershirt duties for many assignments, I think starting at Shepherd. Taking care of those inpatient folks. You deployed at the end of that assignment, which wasn't real long. She went off to Ali Salim after Kuwait after that. And another person wants to congratulate you from Eglin, Colonel Jennifer Volto. I know her as well. And she said you did a great job filling in for squadron leadership duties as a superintendent, first sergeant. She said Kim was nothing but compassionate and passionate towards the people. Care packages, welcome home, like getting the banners and hey, welcome home from deployments, and a nice send-off for those folks that were going, making sure the family and the airmen and everyone that was in her unit and even the squadron were taken care of during those tough times. So hello and congratulations, well done. So make sure I got all this stuff from her. Okay, so her deployment to Ali Salim, Kuwait, was at the tail end of Eglin and just before she came here. I think you're pretty much in process and then out process to come here. And she was the medical operations flight chief and aerospace medical service functional manager. So as we're used to, we go to these kind of small med groups, but they're full of responsibility. We wear multiple hats, and people may think, oh, you're going to Kuwait, no big deal. Anyone that's been deployed to some of these small areas, believe me, you're busy, you're doing air vac recovery and air vac launch, and you're doing OPRs and EPRs and well, whatever, you're helping with all that stuff. You're making sure the clinic operations go, the vaccinations go. And in this case, this was for Operation Inherent Resolve. They had 10,800 patient encounters. She worked really hard with kind of overhauling, getting the vaccines numbers to where they needed to be, making the rates go from 91 to 98.8%. I mean, that's kind of unheard of, I think, especially when you're deployed, the struggles you can have. So she did some wonderful things on her first time there to Kuwait. Now she comes here to Herbert, right? Senior Master Sergeant, and I'm trying to think when did you guys all switch to HA? It's been in the past year and a half, kind of, sort of. So she came here just prior to that, probably happening in her first year. She took on the superintendent role for, what do we call this one back then? Just medical operations squadron back then. Because you guys all switched to the new one here recently, where she's working with the special ops. So the time she said she had when she was deployed helped her really start to understand a little bit about the special operation forces. This clinic is all about the ready medic, am I right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, helping to lead the largest medical squadron, 4 flights, 113 personnel, thousands and thousands of appointments and T-cons. Oh, God, I don't miss those days. I really do. Director over the delivery of ambulance services, so another 24/7, you know, no rest for the weary. And then she was involved with this facility reconstruction, correct? Yeah, which is beautiful, by the way. It's really, really nice. I've never been in here, so it's gorgeous though. Helped to get $14 million in refurbished assets. She also was a big champion. She's been a big champion for professional development because of her family upbringing and her deciding to pay that forward, mentoring diversity and inclusion in lesson plans for 5 ALS classes, grooming folks at the Team Herbert NCOs. While she was here, she deployed, or since she's been here, she was deployed, and she deployed, sorry, I forgot my little thingy. Here we go. To Inherent Resolve at Camp Eric John, Kuwait. Now, the one thing I wasn't sure, did you actually have to go out to different areas, or did you mostly stay in Kuwait?
I went to a couple of areas.
Okay, all right. So the thing that touched me here is, you know, you're working with your special operators, and I mean, we all can be put in harm's way, but these special operators they have a high ops tempo. I mean, you folks have folks that are probably always deployed, your ready medic stuff here, and then the ready special op forces. But her job as the senior enlisted medical advisor was to help ensure life-saving support was taken care of where she was at and throughout 5 different countries where the special operation forces were. She also was instrumental in redeploying and the movement of 2 forward resuscitative surgical teams throughout the theater of operations without sacrificing any capabilities. I know your duties here are not easy. It never is. You think, well, you're at a clinic. I've been at a clinic before in a senior position, and it's not easy. It's no easier than a med center. I mean, it's not apples and oranges, right? Yeah, absolutely. I applaud you all. And you know, by the way, she's doing the foreign functional duties, which is absolutely important. So is the person that's doing the 401A. You know, who's anyone here that does that? All those duties are important because without that, someone at this level helping to bring those people up, you're going to be misguided or you're going to be way behind the marker. So thank you for taking care of our medics in the sense of mentoring and developing them. Our 4Ns, that's really important. But then as a squadron, all the flights and the reline with the Defense Health Agency, honestly, I can't still put my brain around it. I've only retired. It was only 3 years ago in 17 that I retired. I mean, I kind of understand what happened over at Joint Base San Antonio. That's kind of what's going on here and the way that they're moving things around and even your organizational, like who reports to who and all that has changed. But the mission goes on. I mean, it goes on for the people that you're serving out there. And my guess is that you guys do it pretty much without a hitch. You guys just take the lumps and keep on going. And I know that Kim has been here taking the lumps with you, making sure that people are supported with decorations, awards, supervision, mentoring. I mean, it's just amazing. And she's here with you all to put on Chief. So just going through all your stuff, it was really kind of overwhelming. Plus to connect with Fort Sam Houston and what we went through there. I'm just amazed to see you. You were a master sergeant right then, and here you are, not too far along, and boom, you're chief. So please know that you have a very impressive record. I'm very proud. I'm glad you're here with these medics, and you're taking care of our folks as you go through this transition with DHA. And all of you, I thank you for currently serving, and I thank you for going through these tough times when there's a lot of unknown or uncertainty, and you got COVID on top of that. So just keep on keeping on. And take care of one another, right? Because I'm a retiree now. I rely on all of you to help me out, all right? So thank you so much for being here for Chief. God bless. Oh, I did. Okay, all right. Thank you, Colonel Larry. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the publishing of the promotional letter.
502, having demonstrated exceptional leadership abilities, patriotism, and dedication to duty, Chief Master Sergeant Kimberly A. McKissack is promoted to the grade of Chief Master Sergeant, effective 1 January 2021 by the order of the Secretary of the Air Force. Colonel O, sir, please administer the Chief's oath.
I state your full name.
I, Kimberly A. McKissack,
Will continue to uphold the finest traditions of the Air Force enlisted corps.
continue to uphold the finest traditions of the enlisted corps.
I will be watchful for adverse morale trends and do my best to correct them.
I will be watchful
For adverse morale
for
trends
adverse morale trends
and do my best to correct them.
and do my best to correct them.
I will discharge my position
I will discharge my position
as a manager, leader, and advisor
as a manager, leader, and advisor
without prejudice,
without prejudice,
malice of intent,
malice of intent,
or any display of favoritism.
or any display of favoritism.
I will strive to raise up
I will strive to raise up
those junior to myself
those junior to myself
so they may join me
so they may join me
as a chief master sergeant.
as a chief master sergeant.
I will wear my chevrons proudly.
I will wear my chevrons proudly.
I will never forget where I came from.
I will never forget where I came from.
Congratulations, Chief.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Mr. Pickermano, please come forward to assist Colonel Love with the pinning of your spouse's new ring. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 1st Special Operations Medical Group's newest Chief Master Sergeant, Chief Master Sergeant Kimberly A. McKissack.
That's for the incredible medicine. If it's not obvious, I'm just a little nervous, but Jesus, take the wheel. Talk about being a no-limit airman. The wheel has definitely been taken. Happy Friday. It is Friday. Feel good Friday. And it's time for the weekend. It's also the end of the duty day, where people scatter up out of here like Waffle House hash browns. So I will try my best, my very best to be brief. Again, I'll try my best to be brief, but it's absolutely imperative that I express my gratitude.
For starters, I thank God, and I am so appreciative of His grace. To the AFSOC leadership, the One Sal leadership, Colonel Love, Colonel Lowry, Wing Group Squadron Commanders, the Chiefs Groups, Superintendents, First Sergeants, civilians, contractors, I greet you and thank you so much for being a part of this huge milestone and taking time out of your schedule to be here. Let me additionally put this disclaimer out there. I know that some people are saying, uh-oh, what is about to go down and what is about to come out of the chief's mouth? I will tell you that I am somewhat of an expressive and spiritual being, but I am not by any means pushing any type of religion towards anyone. Not to be offensive, but because of my spiritual expressiveness, you will hear the word God, prayer, and Jesus take the wheel on multiple occasions. I must put that out there because I'm not trying to get blasted on the senior NCO and everything. That's what we're doing these days. On Facebook and not in your face and communicating face to face as much as we should. So I literally have multiple shout outs that I must send out today because something like this cannot be accomplished on your own. I did not make it by myself. I did not make it to this level by myself. I did not make it to this level by myself. You cannot reach this level by yourself. This level of one's career is not by any means an arrival. This level of one's career is not where you can just relax, take a seat, and kick your feet up. If anything, it is the beginning where there is a huge door where you are supplied bigger boots and an amplified voice because there is so much work to be done, especially when it comes to taking care of people and their families, ensuring that people know and understand that they are valued and appreciated, and that united as a team, we can accomplish organizational resilience like none other, with dignity and respect leading the way. This definitely took a team of people to make happen, diversity at its finest, active duty military of all branches, officers, enlisted, civil service, contractors, secretaries, housekeepers, helpful agencies, you name it and the list goes on. For anyone that I may have missed, please charge it to my head and not my heart. To everyone out there in Zoom land, shout out to my entire family. I love and care for you all. To my lovely ride or die, prayer warrior, mom, Lady J, who is safe at home and watching, dressed up, hair done and all. I have rosebuds centered. These rosebud plants within the window sills, in the chairs, are a representation of your virtual presence. And to my dad, Russ One, Kelly, and Zayden, thank you for helping Mom set up Zoom, because I know she didn't do it by herself. To Shawana and Nick, thank you for being able to Zoom in as well. I love y'all. To my King Archie, thank you for your continued support of your queen. I salute you and I love you. And thank you for emphasizing that although it's not about me when it comes to taking care of people and the mission at hand, it is all about me when it comes to you. Thank you for balancing me out and making me laugh each and every day, even on the days that I felt defeated. I do have a small token of my appreciation for you up here, but I know that you already figured it out based on a phone call received yesterday from Edible Arrangements asking if I was still going to place the order. They were talking to him. Shout out to my extended family, my new life crew team, my military friends and family, my trusted agents. Shout out to the Keesler Air Force Base team, the Keesler Air Force Base Gospel Service Team. I see you out there, Mama McAdory. The Keesler Air Force Base Regulators at the gym. The Shepherd Air Force Base Gospel Service Team. The Schoolhouse Team, to include the old school team of instructors, CDC writers, curriculum development managers, and academic support team out of Shepherd Air Force Base, and the new school team of instructors, CDC writers, curriculum development managers, and academic support team out of JBSA Fort Sam Houston. Shout out to the Eglin Air Force Base team and the deployed Marauder Medic crew, the Herbert Field team, and the deployed Sagitta crew. And shout out to the Divine Nine and the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, who helped me to not only focus on the best me that I can be, but to also understand the true meaning of what it is to be of service to all mankind. Hashtag Chucks and Pearls. To the 1st Special Operations Medical Group Command Team and the incredible Air Commando medics, thank you for being here. Even in the midst of a pandemic, or what I also like to refer to as the COVID craziness, and dealing with the COVID ops, and the various taskings, you have not missed a beat. Colonel Love, thank you so much for officiating today. You are definitely the truth. Thank you for being the empowering leader that you are and leading with love. And thank you for being that objective sounding board. Even if you do give people dap at times when they say that I'm doing the most. As Archie would say, sometimes I just can't help myself. Colonel Lowry, thank you so much for capturing things as you have today, as it further helps for people to truly understand who I am. From the day that I met you and watched how frequently you would go around the various areas of the schoolhouse, to the point that you would pull up a chair and just start talking to people to see how they were doing, or to see what you could do to assist them. I knew that your passion for people and their well-being was overflowing. So I thank you for who you are. Chief DeBerry, I greatly appreciate you and your prayer, and I receive it all. You have been influential to my life ever since I was a senior airman at my first duty station at Keesler. Your message to me over 20 years ago resonates within my soul. A blessing delayed is not a blessing denied. And just because you don't accomplish something as you plan does not mean that God is not going to accomplish you with a plan. The delay is for development, and He most certainly will do it. And because of that, I continue passing on the inspirational torch of faith, hope, and love. Chief Ballard, thank you, my brother from another mother. You being able to make it here to deliver the Chief Creed means so much. From being at the Coast Guard Academy together and taking all of those personality tests, to laughing at the fact that we registered as having the same personality, you being the extrovert and me being the introvert. Thank you for being such a trusted agent and friend. Thank you for telling me what I needed to hear versus what I wanted to hear. And thank you for expounding upon your philosophy of taking care of people by listening, learning, observing, and paying it forward. A special thanks to today's narrator and proper team, Tech Sergeant Armstead and CMSgt McKissack. I greatly appreciate y'all ladies. To our DJ on the ones and twos, thank you, Master Sergeant Brooks. Go DJ, that's my DJ. These events as such don't just magically come together on its own, as it takes a special team of folks to make things happen and get things done. Our senior NCOs, CMS Sergeant Naylor Thompson, CMS Sergeant Retired Hendry, Master Sergeant Mount, and First Sergeant, Master Sergeant Walker, thank you. Master Sergeant Mount, even though you were on leave, you came back to work and aggressively rounded things up and made this Zoom thing possible, so I thank you. I joke about my mom not being the most technically inclined, but that's only because I'm not either. But Jesus took the wheel. To the dynamic duo, technical sergeants, Sergeant Armstead and Sergeant Vallejo. You two definitely pulled things together as well, especially considering the time constraint. Honorable mention to my Healthcare Operations Squadron Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Lewis. She would listen to everyone's ideas after careful consideration, quickly summing up a game plan and capturing those pieces that none of us were thinking about, so thank you. And let's not forget about our quiet professionals behind the scenes, the Med Group Exec team, Lieutenant Lombardozzi, Miss Alicia and Miss Page, and the One South Protocol team. Big shout out to Miss Natalie. This journey has truly humbled me. This is a race that has not been about the fast and the furious, but a race about strength, endurance, and determination to be a continued walking testament of faith, encouragement, and hope. So the start of wanting to join the Air Force, again, my mom was like, no ma'am, absolutely not. You're going to college first. What you do after college is your business, but you're going to college first. So what did I do? I went to college first. That's my mama, and she was like my mama drill sergeant. My Aunt Carolyn, again, she recruited me. And when I informed my mom that I was joining, she wasn't in complete agreement, just the nervousness, the unknown. But years later, she would quote in our local Jackson Sun newspaper that me joining the Air Force was one of the best decisions that I had ever made. So through it all, and in the end, things balance out. Mom, thank you for all of your prayers and words of wisdom as they continue to reach out to me to this day. You can open your box now, which is symbolic of the prayer warrior that you are truly. I could go on and on, as there are countless people, diverse in nature, that have contributed to developing me over the years and watching out for me as well. And there always seemed to be a chief that stood out at every location. For that, I am truly thankful and blessed. And know that to whom much is given, much is required. Because of all the various people who united as a team and took care of me, whether active duty military of all branches, officers, enlisted, civil service, contractors, secretaries, housekeepers, helpful agencies, it would be remiss of me not to give back. So I take my charge as a chief very seriously, and I do not play around when it comes to taking care of people. At the end of the day, people want to be valued and appreciated and treated with dignity and respect. In closing, I would like to share the 22 January message that's captured in the Maxwell Daily Reader, and it speaks volumes for me and how I feel. It's entitled Enlarging Others. Team members always love and admire a player who is able to help them go to another level, someone who enlarges and empowers them to be successful. Players who enlarge their teammates have several things in common. 1, enlargers value their teammates. Your teammates can tell whether you believe in them. People's performance usually reflect the expectations of those they respect. 2, enlargers value what their teammates value. Players who enlarge others listen to discover what their teammate talks about and what to see when it comes to how they spend their money. That kind of knowledge, along with a desire to relate to their fellow players, creates a strong connection. 3, enlargers add value to their teammates. Adding value is really the essence of enlarging others. It's finding ways to help others improve their abilities and their attitudes. An enlarger looks for the gifts, talents, and uniqueness in everyone, and then helps to increase those abilities. 4, enlargers make themselves more valuable. Enlargers work to make themselves better, not only because it benefits them personally, but also because it helps them to help others. If you want to increase the ability of a teammate, make yourself better. How do your teammates see you? Are you an enlarger? Do you make them better than they are along through your inspiration and contribution? Do you know what your teammates value? Do you know your people? Do you capitalize on those things by adding value to them in those areas? The 17 essential qualities of a team player. Take some specific steps to enlarge your teammates today. So I say to you, invest in your people, invest in your families, and invest in the team. Thank you so much for being a part of this huge milestone. Thank you for the continued opportunity to serve. Be safe, have a great weekend. God bless you, and God bless this grateful nation.
Thank you, Chief McKissack. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of the official party. This concludes the formal portion of today's celebration. I invite you to come forward and congratulate Chief McKissack and her family. Also, please enjoy the grab-and-go refreshments in the executive conference room. Thank you for attending and have a safe and relaxing weekend.